It is a lot easier to repeat a straight swing, especially if you're not bowling every day, if you're not bowling as a job. Hi, welcome back to another training video, how I work on my game, and hopefully this can also help your game. As I talked about in an earlier video, one of my biggest misses is that I miss left too often, too much. So trying to fix that. One of the big parts of that is my swing getting a little bit out of line, tendency to get my swing going behind my body, which makes it loop a little bit and forces and makes me less accurate than I can be. Today I'm working on fixing that with two things. The first video here, I'm working on it by having my second step in a 5-step approach, like my first step with my right foot, go a little further left. I feel like I'm getting a tendency to walk a little too straight, so I don't get my hip out of the way for the ball and the swing. So by feeling like I'm walking a little further left, maybe even exaggerating a little bit, I create more room for my swing there, and my swing can be a little more straight, I can be a little more accurate. Second part I'm working on here in the second video is shortening my first step. I have a tendency to my first step getting too long, which then makes the subsequent steps too long too, and then I don't have enough room at the foul line for my slide, which again makes me kind of shut down my body and lose energy, and often also miss left and be less consistent than I want to be. So I'm trying to rather than have my step go, like, I'm not sure exactly how long it actually is, but instead of having my step go, let's say out here, I'm trying to feel like I'm only stepping like this. In reality, I'm probably stepping like this, but feeling like it's really short, and then having my second step go in front of, go to the left of that first step to create some room, both lengthwise in the approach and side to side for the ball to swing. Hopefully that'll give me a longer flat spot and a straighter swing, which in the end is going to give me more consistency, more power, more accuracy, and just make me overall a more consistent player. So hopefully that works. That's what I'm working on today, and I'll show you some more shots here with me working on it. You've seen it from straight back, so you can kind of watch the swing. I've put the camera a little further out to the side. That way you can kind of see the ball line and the pins, and you can kind of get an idea if I throw it good or bad. Meanwhile, you can still see my approach and my swing. That was pretty good. And the pins agreed. So and this is not really something I was very conscious about, but that probably affected it a little bit in some degree at least. And I don't think it was that bad during the tour season, but I noticed actually 2 days ago that I was aiming further right than where I was actually hitting my target. So it was about 2 or 3 boards. I was aiming 2 or 3 boards right of where I was actually hitting at my target area. So today I'm moving in my target to be a little bit more in line. So right now because I drift left to create room for my swing, it's not straightforward. I have to aim a little further left than what it looks like I need to when I line up. So right now I'm lining up on 19 with my left foot, and I'm actually aiming at 18. I'm aiming at 18 at the dots. That's where I aim. So obviously, if I were to walk dead straight and hit 18 at the dots, I would probably throw it in the left gutter. But I do drift about 5 boards left, so that and that also changes my alignment a little bit, and probably helps make everything a little easier to hit my target. So that was right. Yeah, I walked about 5.5 boards. I drifted about 5.5 boards to the left, and I can actually tell on the oil line here which is pretty cool. I can tell on the oil line here that, as I haven't really moved around yet, I can tell that at the dots I'm right here, so I'm actually, looks like I'm hitting the actually hitting the 17th board at the dots. And then some of them are like the left side of the 17th board, some of them are the middle of the 17th board. So I might actually be aiming a little too far left. So let's try to move my target into 17 at the dots instead, see if that changes anything. I think that was pretty good. That actually also, I drifted about half a board less there. How you aim, how you target affects your body a lot more than you think. So aiming at the right spot is pretty important. I think that was probably like, if the one shot before were like the left side of the 17th board, that was probably the middle of the 17th board. Got a little further right, but not so much that it was actually bad. So. That's pretty good again. One thing I'm noticing when I try to walk left on my second step, which is basically the step where I start my ball, I also have a tendency to push the ball a little bit left, which also kind of makes my swing go a little bit more this way rather than as looping around my body. So that's probably also helping it be a little bit straighter. That's a good one. Right now the good ones are pretty good. And they end up dead flush, so that's a good sign. That one was super short on the first step, and that kind of brought me out of balance, out of rhythm a little bit. It might have been a little too short, or maybe I just wasn't expecting it to be that short. So, but you can kind of tell that that messed up my rhythm a little bit. That's a good one. Pinch slow. I also haven't moved my feet at all since I started practicing. I don't know how many shots I've gotten on video here, but there has to be at least 20. So it might be time to start moving. So still a 3-board move. I'm guessing I'm gonna have to, probably have to aim, I was aiming at 17, probably have to move in my target at 19. Let's see here. Shot was definitely pretty good. I drifted, yeah, right around 5 boards again. Let's see where I hit, because that should be fairly simple to see. So I have a line right here. It crosses the dots right in between the 19th and the 20th board. Yep, right between 19th. So basically the further left side of the 19th board, so like 19.5. So not too far off of where I thought I had to aim. Yeah, that's pretty good. That feels pretty good. It feels pretty easy. One thing I always notice when I work on making my swing straighter is it feels looser and it feels easier to swing the ball when your swing's a little bit straighter. So that's a good tip. I know we talk about, like, there's a lot of talk about like EJ having the loop in his swing, like Wes Millard and a lot of those guys, and that's all good and great. But it is a lot easier to repeat straight swing, especially if you're not bowling every day, if you're not bowling as a job, if you're just trying to get better. Having as straight a swing as possible is gonna be a lot easier to maintain. So straight swing is kind of like that's the starting point. If your natural style develops and you have a little loop in your swing or something that works for you, great. But for the most part, straight a swing as possible is going to be easier to repeat, make you more consistent. And to accomplish that, you have to have everything in line. You have to create room for the ball. And it wasn't like my swing was getting way out of line, but I probably started stepping, I don't know, like maybe a board for less to the left. So my hips got just a pinch more in the way of the ball. All of a sudden my swing is just a little bit out of line, and then I'm not bowling bad, but I'm missing just a little bit more than I'd like to be, and than I can afford to do when bowling against EJ Tackett and Belmo and Simo and all of those guys. All right, last shot of the video here. Short step, step 1, walk left, step 2, and create a nice free straight swing. I'd say that was pretty good. So that's it. Make sure you check your swing. If you feel like you're struggling, get some video, get a coach to help you. Look at your swing. Is it a little bit in behind your back? Is it a little out to the side? And try to figure out how to straighten that up. Look at your feet, look at your footwork. How does that relate to your swing? And get that straightened up. That's gonna help you out a whole lot with strike shots and also with spare shots. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you can use some of this. Hope you find it interesting to see what I'm working on as a pro, and yeah, hopefully it'll help you too. So see you in the next video. I have multiple videos here on how I practice, what I work on, and obviously also videos about bowling balls and from the PBA Tour. So find some of those, click the subscribe button, and you're never gonna miss any of the other ones.